Hello again, this is Jones, programmer here at Calcreation. We left off with the property drawer, and it's functional, and it's good to go for any project. I would use it if it was for my personal project, but for something that's going on the asset store, I needed to optimize as much as I could. This for loop will be called on every event that's sent to the inspector window. Repaint, mouse click, mouse drag, mouse scroll, wheel, everything. And we can pull all of this out and have it only call one time. And that'll save us some cycles. It might make the inspector a lot smoother for our users. This is also a lookup call. This is going to be called every time to the asset database, and that can also be cached. So let's cache what we can and save ourselves some clock cycles. So firstly, then let's pull some variables out of the draw call. Create a string array for the names. Set it, and also we can do a check on the first call to onGUI when the object is selected. And if it's null, then we know we need to set it, and we set it in one time, and it's good. So now if the asset name is null, the axis names are null, then we go through the sequence, pull them all out, and set them to our array. Now this is one call. It calls down here. By the time it reaches out of this if statement, our asset name should not be null, and we should have a populated array that we can use. Alright, debug log, and we see it's only called once, no matter how many events are sent to the inspector, as long as it's not being drawn for the first time. So there we go, one call to the onGUI debug. We scroll, submit, we change anything in here, and we're good. This one step prevents those statements from being ran continuously. Mouse Y, what's a mouse Y? Alright, reloaded, onGUI called one more time. Oh, there we have it. This optimizes the code as far as I can tell, at least. Well, let's make some comparisons. Alright, this is code that I'm using in production software. So I have some constants here that I have declared, and my variables. Now I'll explain why I've pulled all the string variables out and have them as constants, and also why my call to is valid here uses nullable types. Now for strings, strings are immutable. what I understand, immutable means that every time a string is processed, memory is reallocated. So declaring a constant would mean memory would be allocated one time for this asset path, one time for the help format. For the asset path, it's not a concern because it's called here, and this is only called one time during the draw call. But for the help format, this is called every time this is invalid. An invalid type is used for this property. By using a constant here, then the string is only reserved in memory one time, however many bytes. Another optimization I have here for this one is the call to the attribute drawer. Now, I have a parameter passed into my constructor that I use for my property drawer. That's define a label other than the field name that's declared in the class. This property is also provided by the property drawer from Unity. It's a getter, so I'm not sure if it's has to do lookups. So storing it away like this would ensure that it's only looked up once during the call to display the pop-up. So that's it for the optimization. And I noticed I didn't show the attribute constructor, and it's used here. So in case anyone needs to know, add in whatever type we want to pass here. So let's do something different. Let's pass in an int max size equal 5. Now let's declare a property here for max size. And set it in the constructor. There we go. Alright, and we used it here. Now we're able to pass in a parameter in our attribute. Default parameter again would stay default, but that parameter comes in as an attribute. Let's check that out. So I'm going to print out what's in the attribute value here. I'll do this so I can stop the debug, or we can look into it and see what the attribute contains. Notice there's nothing on the IntelliSense here, and we do have a publicly accessible variable in our attribute class. This attribute, however, is a default type property attribute which needs to be cast into our type. Let's see what we got in there. All right, here's our attribute. So here's our property that we declared. That field, our read-only field that we declared in our property class. Now we can use this to do anything in here. We can limit the size of the input array that we can use. And let's do that and see how it works. Now we have this entire list. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's limit it to the first 5 on this list to be shown in the drop down. For that, we have to use the attribute. So let's cast that over to now we have access to the properties. And all the accessible functions. So declare a maximum value here for our length. Oh, let's just call it length. Then we declare our Alright, there we go. Apparently mouse Y was beyond the bounds of the array set at 5. And here we are, the first 5 on the list. So that's how you use the property drawers constructor, and you can pass in parameters and use them in your classes. Okay, I think that's it for property drawers. It's practical use. We use in production code, hair calculation. Thanks for watching. This has been a Unity editor script tutorial about property drawers, brought to you by Callow Creation. Don't forget to follow us on your favorite social media, visit our website, and Qualls. Thank you.